Today, I have the honor to welcome VeVe's partner marketing manager, MyCollectables, here on the channel. MC is a huge collector himself. So in today's chat, we will talk about his passion for collecting and what makes collecting special for him. And of course, guys, we will talk about his new role at VeVe and what VeVe does to attract new users and make our community to the place where the world collects. So guys, enjoy this episode and welcome My Collectibles.
Yeah, thanks so much for inviting me. It's awesome to be on here with you. Been watching all of your amazing content and interviews, and I'm a big fan, of course, already. And it's super great to join you. So thanks so much for inviting me.
Obviously, I mean, I had to get you on here because back in 2021, I've joined VeVe in April 2021. And you were like one of these the sources I've like watched like every video, took a look at all the X posts, etc. So it's a pleasure to be here today, but on different sides this time because now you create content, but not for your own channel, but for VeVe. But before we get into your new role, especially on the VeVe side, I mean, people can see and people know you are a huge collector yourself. But it would interest me, like, what makes collecting so special for you, and how did it all started?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I remember those days back in the day. And thanks so much for all the support that you gave at the time too, and all the way through now. It's super great to kind of like, now we're doing this in a different way, and now your channel is doing great, and it's just the way it is with the community, right? So big shout out to you. But yeah, in terms of collecting, I've been a collector for a lot of my life, all the way back into junior high and earlier. And it's gone through all sorts of different phases, depending on what I was into at the time. It really just goes back to kind of the stuff that I really enjoyed, and there's also a nostalgic collection, a connection, sorry, to anything that I've collected, over the years. When I get older, the nostalgia was more looking back in the past, and when I was younger, it was really just about the stuff that I was experiencing at the time. And so somehow in the middle of all that, I was developed a nice collection of things that I like. And, the collection is always changing, and what's in the collection is always changing. It's never kind of stationary. I'll collect certain things for a while and then see something else that I really kind of like and get into and maybe go down that road. And even behind me on my wall, that I display this stuff for when I'm doing videos and things like that. I'll rotate things in, that I have stuff that's not displayed that, I'll put out eventually. And I have other spots in my office here that you can't see on camera right now that have, special things to me. So I think, for me, the collecting thing has always been about just a connection to something that's going on in my life or a time, or, whether it's a sports team that I really am a fan of, or maybe it's a childhood cartoon I used to watch, or maybe it's connected to a family member that I had who was collecting something and they shared it with me and kind of opened my eyes to something else. Or maybe it's just, I just really like it because it looks damn cool. And I just want to have it in my house because I love
no boundaries in your collecting habits, as it seems, right?
Yeah, like a good example would be, I got into collecting Lego minifigures at one point for quite a long time. One of the reasons is because, I used to work in a graphic design office with a whole team, and, me and a couple of the other guys there, one of them he was into Lego, and I had really, the last toys that I ever played with as a youth was Lego. When I was just, ending my actually playing with toys, it was Lego.
Yeah.
It was in the late 1980s. I'm dating myself, but and so anyway, I always liked Lego, right? But I didn't have any. I didn't collect anything. But he was putting minifigures on his computer, like so. If you have your computer screen, he was putting them on the top of his computer screen at work, and just because he'd be working on his stuff, and he'd look up and he'd see these little figures, and they were fun. And I was like, oh, those are pretty cool. And Lego was coming out with the box sets, with the little minifigure series, that little blind bags, and they came out with a bunch, and so one time I went down to I think it was like a department store or a pharmacy store that had the toy section. And I bought some of these blind bags, you know, because you didn't know what was in them. Opened them up and I started putting them on my thing as well. And, you know, so we started doing Lego kind of collecting together.
Yeah.
And that totally expanded and grew. And if I tilt my camera, you can see up above, there's just one case of
Totally. Yeah.
minifigures.
Right.
There's 50 in there. And, you know, so I had I have quite a few. That's just one small case, but I have quite a
And they're
few over the.
sometimes really valuable, right? I mean, I'm not into Lego collecting, but I've seen
Yeah.
some prices here and there for those like rarer ones and stuff. But
Oh
is
yeah.
yeah? I
Yeah.
mean, is that something you took a look at when you've collected those Lego figurines? Or was it more like, okay, do I like the character? Or was it, okay, this one is rare, this is like in VV terms, a common or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. Because when I was at that particular office, I was heavy into collecting vintage Star Wars and 80s toys and comics. So I was getting stuff shipped to me at the office all the time, right? From
Mhm.
eBay and from places I would buy. So a package would show up, I'd open it up and it'd be a vintage toy. So the Lego thing was fun at first. I was like, you know, but then I started to go, oh, there's some Chase minifigures you just can't find, or in a box
Yeah.
set, and they would have like a 40 pack when they'd have
Mhm.
40 blind bags. You know, there was a chaser in there that was a little bit more scarce. And there was a policeman figure in particular about 10 years ago that was in a specific series that Lego minifigures came out with. And if you found the policeman, there was like one in a box of the 40. So that was like the secret rare chaser in the
Yeah,
blind
yeah,
box.
okay, the gray.
Yeah, but we figured out where it was located in the box, because in the box it
Uh-huh.
had 3 rows of bags, and each one of the bags was a blind bag, right? But we
Yeah.
figured it out where it was located. It was on the left-hand side, and it was about 2 to 3 bags down. So if you went and you saw a brand new box from a store, you could just buy the 3 or 4 in that area, and you'd get that
Yeah.
policeman. So I ended up with about 5 of those. So you know,
I
I always
This
have that in my
remembers
mind.
one.
Value, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then. You've mentioned Star Wars. And what from my understanding, you are a huge Star Wars fan yourself. And today, I mean, the recording will be out a little later, but today we got a new Star Wars announcement.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's the AT-AT, the big 4-legged walker, you know, from the Star Wars series, specifically Empire Strikes Back with this one. And it's got the diorama of the Hoth planet and the battle. And it looks absolutely amazing. I actually saw it, obviously, previously, you know, and from time to time, I'm lucky enough to get to help out a little bit in that area, you know, when they're working on Star Wars releases. I'm able to see some stuff ahead of time with the design team and from Lucasfilm themselves, which to me is just absolutely incredible, because when they're working on these kind of things with Lucasfilm, you know, our designers, and like everyone has met Devin already. You know, he had a nice behind the scenes interview, and that was sent out and everything. So him and his team work on it, and sometimes I get to see some of the Lucasfilm archives, which is just for me like crazy, because you know, going back to when I was a kid, you know, I was born in the, you know, in that era, right? And I was mostly grew up in the 80s. So I caught Return of the Jedi, the movie, in the movie theater when it actually came out. And it was like a total mind-blowing, like, I still remember the theater. I still remember the night. I still remember going up the steps into the theater. And I still remember like watching, you know, the movie live and seeing all those TIE fighters and the Death Star battle at the end. And just being as a kid, I was just mind blown.
Holy
So
shit.
yeah, so I've always loved Star Wars. I've always been a big fan of it. And when the new movies came out in the 1990s, you know, when they did the prequel movie series, I was in college at that time. So I wasn't really collecting toys at that point. But that kind of started to spur on a little bit more in terms of like collecting again, and making me think about the toys from when I was a little kid that I didn't have anymore. So through the early 2000s, I started to collect Star Wars toys, the newer
Yeah.
ones in the newer movies. And then I branched into the vintage stuff. So I've always been a huge fan of Star Wars, and I always love all the content and all the stories. And now my kids and family, we watch all the movies. So, And when VeVe drops this kind of stuff, it's just, for me,
Yeah, yeah.
it's so amazing, right? It's super fun to see.
If you're new to Vivi and haven't signed up yet, it would really mean a lot to me if you do so with my affiliate link. Through that, you are not just supporting me, you also get 10 gems for free to kick off your digital collecting journey and grab your first digital collectible. And now, back to the video.
You've talked a lot about the feelings that go hand in hand with collecting, with those memories you have with those characters or those movies. Try to describe how like the feeling, because VeVe is a digital collectibles company. Is there a different feeling to collecting something digital for you than something physical, or is it the same?
Yeah, for me, I've actually found it very similar. I found it because the core aspect of having something in your collection and knowing that you have it and then being able to share it, that's where digital actually makes it a little easier.
But you can't touch it or grab it. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's a common argument, right?
Yeah, the physical being able to hold it and everything, but the fact that it's there for me is okay because, for example, with me and my collecting, I did a lot on eBay, and on Instagram actually earlier, and also on Flickr. Flickr, the site where people share photos. I really started out taking toy photography, so I was taking action figures like you'd see behind me. And I was practicing using my camera for graphic design work. And because I had this really nice camera, in the late 2000s and early 2010s, and I was doing a lot of photography with clients I was doing.
Sorry to interrupt there, but
Yeah.
I guess you've sometimes shared some of those stormtrooper. I saw a stormtrooper pic of you, what you've took with the Lego figurines. Yeah. Okay, really nice. Okay, then I definitely know what you're talking about. But please go on.
Yeah, exactly. So I was taking toy photography, having fun with that, learning how to, and I was sharing it on socials, early socials, because that's like I said. So the digital, so even though I had physical toys, I was still sharing them digitally and having them in my collection in my physical space. There's only so many I can have right out on display. So the digital aspect of it to me is really cool because once I got into it, I was able to have it all in front of me. So I was able to kind of just, scroll through my whole collection and maybe just tap and share it immediately. And the AR thing is pretty cool too, right? Obviously with being able to put it physically and take pictures. But I think because most of us and myself, I live online a lot, in terms of like what I view and what I see. And so having it like as a digital collectible to me is like, it has the same feeling as having a physical and then taking pictures of it and sharing it. It's the thing about collecting in a way is, if there's nostalgia to it and you like looking at it, and there's an interesting thing about owning it and knowing you own it, and collectors will understand this kind of thinking. So I have collectibles that none of you have ever seen, right? Like I have old Star Wars toys or stuff that I own that no one will ever see. Maybe I haven't shared it yet, or maybe I don't want people to know I own it because it's super scarce or something, or that kind of thing. Or super valuable. Like people have crazy valuable stuff in their vault, like you see some of these comic books that some of these people have in the world. So, but the fact that I have it and I know I have it and I can go look at it, that's a part of collecting. I think that is a key thing because it's a personal thing, it's just me and the collection I have, and it gives me a lot of joy to look at it, and it might trigger memories of things, like I mentioned earlier, from the past or from whatever. And, so those kind of things are like on a personal level between a collector and their collection. And the digital aspect to me has the exact same thing. Like I go into my phone, on VeVe or there's other platforms too that I use, right? And, I look at something that a key piece that I went and got or had, and it's a personal thing between me and that. And so whether it's on my phone or whether it's on my shelf or whether it's like in a box, but I just know it's there, even though I'm not looking at it because I know it's in a box somewhere.
It's here.
It's in my mind. So that's why the collecting thing. So for digital, physical, to me, it's very, very much the same feeling.
Okay. Nice,
Yeah.
nice, good to hear. Because I have no feeling how it feels like to be like a real physical collector, because I've started collecting a few pieces here and there because I came through Vivi to like collecting in general,
Yeah.
and so great to hear and really interesting that the feeling is like nearly the same or the same. But in you've been active in collecting communities for a long time.
Yeah.
So is there a difference in terms of like the physical collecting community and the digital collecting community? For example, VV, Candy, or what have you? Is there a difference for you?
Yeah, I think it's really just adoption and knowledge, and just just people being able to discover it. And I know you were going to talk about my role, because I know there's some things that you want to get into. But as I
Yeah.
reach out to different communities and influencers who are really big into the physical collecting space, once they kind of just see what's happening, they understand. They go, "Oh, that makes sense," because it ties into everything I was saying before about the notion of collecting something that's scarce or rare or cool or personal. And the medium in which you're doing it is evolving. It's changing, right? And you have more options now. And so, the collecting communities, it's really just about discovering new ways to do it. I look a lot at the gaming community, and
Mhm.
the gaming community, like say if you're playing a video game and there's certain games out there like Fortnite and stuff like that, where there's certain skins that people want, playing the game itself, it doesn't really change the game experience in terms of how you move around or whatever, or the weapons you choose in that game. But the skin that you're wearing, it changes the experience, right? Because you're
Right.
looking at it. And some of those, you have to obviously pay for at certain times, and they're kind of scarce, or they only come along. And having them and owning them and knowing they're in your collection is kind of similar in terms of this digital mindset. It's not a physical thing, but you have it, it's yours, it's in your collection. And then what digital collecting takes it a little bit further, because you can actually pass it on to someone else and sell it and all that kind
Mhm.
of stuff on the VV platform and others as well. So it kind of separates it even further from the gaming side of things, where once you have something, it's in the game. You only use it there for maybe your experience. But then when other people see you running around, and you have that
Yeah.
skin, it's a bit of a flex,
Social
right?
signaling.
Yeah,
Social signaling at its finest. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, um, that's why I believe that like the digital collecting space has such a bright future, because everything like tomorrow is more digital than today and the day after, etc. You know what I mean? And so we will definitely be way more digital in the future. And like in the real world, a nice graded rare comic is a big flex. In the digital, it will be the same, if not even a bigger flex, because more people can actually see it. Because like physical, I mean, probably not that many people, as you've told me before, have seen a lot of your collection because it's not in frame or whatever. So
yeah.
only people who attend your home would see a big part of your collection. And in the digital world, you can show that off way better. Yeah, in
Yeah,
my
it's a little
opinion.
easier for sure. And like I said, that's why the collecting has such a personal thing between the one person and their collection. And that's super important, and that's key. And that exists anywhere. And I think really, like VV as a company, it's just a collecting company. It's just it's just mostly digital. But
Yeah.
all it really it just goes down to the aspect of collecting what you love, or something scarce, or something valuable potentially, or something with nostalgia, and it's just the medium in which you're doing it. The format. There's lots of options, right? So I mean, like I mentioned Lego minifigures. Like I like stormtroopers. Okay, like I don't know why, I just love stormtroopers from Star Wars. So I have minifigure stormtroopers. I have action figure stormtroopers that are 6 inch. I have 3 and 3/4 inch, the vintage ones. I have the 6 inch stormtroopers.
Mhm.
I have a life size stormtrooper
Yeah, I've seen
outfit.
that.
'Cause my time in
Yeah.
the cosplay community in the 501st. And I have all sorts of other things that I love in stormtroopers, and I have the digital stormtrooper on Vivi. and the other ones that have dropped. And to me, it's just, I'll collect whatever I think is cool and whatever medium I like. It's just another way to go, another route. So I think it really has all the same experiences, same feelings. But digital does provide some interesting, different things that physical can't, like animation, sound,
Mhm.
interactivity, shareability, all that stuff, and portability. So there's a whole bunch of things around digital. I think that a lot of people use today in everything else. Money, movies,
Mhm.
music. Photos, everything. So collecting is just falling. It's just slipping right into that same kind of niche and same sort of area. And so as just time goes on, it just gets more and more normalized. And people who are like my age who collect physical and grew up that way, once they see it, not everybody will adopt it. That's okay.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people are starting with this and going to the physical side the other way, as we've been talking about for a couple of years now with VV, right? So it's pretty fun. It's all just good fun collecting.
Yeah, yeah. While we are on the topic of getting new people interested in digital collecting, let us shift the conversation to your new role. What
Yeah.
exactly does a day, one of your days in the new role look like, and with what kind of partners do you currently work together or reach out to? Give us a quick overview about that, please.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm in partnerships and affiliates now, and working with content creators, influencers, and as well working with our current community of affiliates who have joined. Already we're up over 120 people who are partners.
Mhm.
As we call them. If you join the affiliate program, you become a partner. And so my day looks a lot like, looking at all of the, partners and affiliates we have and checking out all of their performance, supplying them now, as you'll see, with a lot of materials that they can use to then
Yeah.
promote their own link. And their link is, gives them a commission based upon like a new offer that we have, where if someone clicks their link and signs up to the VV app and they use the 10 free gems that we give them, the new person, and make a purchase, then the affiliate, gains a commission and it all registers in the system. And so my job is to provide, all the current affiliates and people who are working with who have applied to the program with materials to go out there and promote and use their link with. And in order to generate more users and more traffic to the VV app. My other side of the job is to actually start looking at working with influencers, content creators, businesses, companies, and stuff like that to actually get them, in sponsored sort of, opportunities, partner opportunities where maybe we
Mhm.
do some, influencer advertising or just exposing, their audience to VV and doing some things like that. And so what I'm doing is a lot of outreach right now that people don't see. I'm
Yeah.
in the background reaching out and compiling a list of like a lot of big contacts and stuff of people that we may want to do some work with in regards to paid advertising and promotions and things like that.
Mhm.
And you'll start seeing some of that stuff come through as we work. And so I'm kind of compiling all of that. The program is not that old. The program only really launched this year. And
Yeah.
so I took it over, in the middle of the summer, basically, as I transitioned from the community manager role that I'd had since I started. And we brought in to VV a community team, with On My Way and FlexiCat, and of course our new social media manager who's like working with them. And so they're handling, doing the community management with the community and like all that stuff that I used to do, with working with our local creators and like promoting shows and of course taking feedback and all that stuff that you do in community management. And
Yeah.
they're evolving that whole thing. And then I was helping out in that area as I shifted over. So I was kind of doing both roles for a time
Mhm.
period
Mhm.
while we were, kind of transitioning. And so now I'm fully in the partner affiliate role. So my whole thing in the company's thing is really about growth and about, new users and about, new people, new communities seeing what VV is all about. And so I'm in the marketing growth side of the business now. But I always loved working with content creators and influencers in our own space. So it was kind of seemed like a natural transition for me coming from being in content myself originally
Mhm.
and being in marketing in my career that's not anything to do with VV before that in graphic design, marketing, and all of that. That's where my background comes from. So those kind of things all seem like it could be a good fit. And so I'm really enjoying it. And you'll start to see some of these things coming to light now, specifically around our drops we're doing and our releases. And you can see actually a lot of our community who's already applied and signed up are promoting, VeVe with the materials we're supplying them with the link that they have for themselves. So it's an evolving thing that we're really just ramping up.
While we are on that topic of affiliates, um, if someone is listening or watching this, who wants to become an affiliate, where should he or she go, or what is like what does the person have to bring with it to become an affiliate?
Yeah, they just have to apply on our affiliate site, and so hopefully maybe there's a link for it in the bottom of this video, or we can, obviously you can follow me on X and or just go to VeVe's, just type in Google like VeVe affiliate. And so there's a landing page you go to and you just hit the apply button. There's criteria that we look at. We want to make sure that people have a certain amount of followers or a certain amount of an audience,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we're not restricting people who are passionate VeVe community, like collectors or collectors in general. We'll look at every application like specifically individually. So even if they don't meet the criteria of having a certain threshold of followers or audience size,
Wait,
willing to
wait.
like have that person come in and help them grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like exactly my situation, because I don't have the amount of followers needed yet.
Yeah.
But as you guys or as you said, if you try to bring value, etc., there's a affiliate link down below, guys. You can check that one out,
There
and
you go.
also through that you will go to the VeVe site and then find all the other good stuff on there. In terms of the influencers and partners you're working together, is it like a specific, not niche, a specific size of influencer you're looking for? So nano, micro influencers, or do you also reach out to like the big boys?
Yeah, we have a wide range of people that we're reaching out to, and it's really based around the fandoms and the collecting community. So if somebody is, say has 50,000 subscribers or 2 million subscribers, we want to know, specifically, what it is that they're looking for as well, and their particular partnerships and stuff like that they want to do. But we're also wanting to find out, what we can do with those kind of audiences. Now, somebody might have like 2 million followers or subscribers, but somebody else may have, 120 or 1,000 or something. Just these are just random numbers, right?
Yeah.
But their audience might be more engaged and actually more involved in actually collecting. So we look at all sorts of things when I'm doing outreach on that. What is their engagement level? How many views are they getting on their videos? What is their demographics? We're requesting a lot of rates to see what people actually get into in those kind of areas. And we're just kind of building a nice background right now for targets, but we're basing it mostly on the genres. Like, so, if you're Star Wars or you have your Marvels, you have other IPs that like we are, really popular on our platform that we want to push because of our promotions that we're doing. Depending on, what's going on in the year right now, like, the Mandalorian movie trailer came out. And so you'll see that we shared like the Mandalorian ad materials for affiliates to use to promote like these kind of things. So targets that we go after are in those ranges of stuff that we think would be a good fit, but at the same time, the program is, in its early days, right? Like this is part of my job is to help develop that and help look for those opportunities, right? And see what comes our way as well. So, the one great thing is that through all of this that we've seen, most of the time, the response has been like super positive, like, whoa, I didn't even know, you know what I mean? So like it's all part of our push, as a company as a whole. And I'm using the great thing is that like, our marketing department who is, I work in side by side with, like for example, Corey, right? Which I know you've spoken to obviously, which was fantastic. So, that team, his team there is building a lot of the marketing and promotional materials behind the scenes. You'll see our blogs, you'll see our articles, you'll see all sorts of stuff that is outside of the drop to show, to build this company as a collecting authority, a real knowledge base, and also to share our community with other communities. So there's the bridging of the gaps between communities. You know, we have our passionate local people. We want to connect them to other communities who are just as passionate. Maybe don't know that we're here yet. So that's part of all the outreach that that's going on in the background right now.
Corey told me in our interview that he wants VeVe to become the gold standard of collecting, not just digital collectibles, of collecting in general, like a true source of information where you can rely on what the information says. Because in the digital age, there's a lot of, I would say, generated content, which is not 100% right all the time. So I think that is a great strategy. I mean, looking a little bit into the past and into the future at the same time. You and a few other influencer out of our VeVe community, for example, VeVe Magic, already have your own collectibles on VeVe. First of all, that's so freaking cool. And is that something that could potentially be a strategy going forward? Will there be more, maybe?
Yeah, that is a really good question, and I think it you know, with Epico that has put those out, you know, with their game and their whole community and platform. I think that partnership with VeVe is really interesting, and we'll see where it goes and develops. Having, you know, notables, I would say, as collectibles is a really fascinating and I think a kind of a really cool way to connect like the community with like say the staff at VeVe or the people who work at VeVe or prominent creators who are in the community. So, you know, I'm not exactly sure, you know, overall what I can share with you about stuff like that. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And, you know, I'm finding out as I go as well. For me, it's really surreal to be a collectible on the VeVe app. And I'm really thankful to have done that. It's really cool. And so they, you know, they have their own plans, you know, about what they're going to do. And so, you know, so I'm still waiting to hear about some of those things as well. And I'm just kind of honored to be there. But in terms of like, I think it's really just about, you know, humanizing the people that work here and collecting and being a part of that experience. And then, you know, taking it over to another area, like in gaming, for example. So we'll see what develops from it. I don't want to spoil any surprises with, you know, potential things or more collections that could be coming. I'll just let Epico and do that whole thing, how they want to do it. But it is a lot of fun. And you can go on to VeVe and you can collect, you know, MyCollectables, and they're, you know, the blue one is pretty scarce.
How many of your own collectibles do you have?
Oh, just one of each. Yeah, I have the blue one, and I had to go to the market to get it. By the way, it wasn't airdrop.
Oh, what? You didn't even get one?
No, it's all, you know. And so I went for the drop, and I landed the you know, the basic version of me, the colored full color version, which is funny. And I may have swapped it for a better mint. I can't remember, but I have that one, and then I had to go to the market to get the you know, the blue one. As far as I remember, anyway, yeah.
Your birth year would be a great mint, or your birthday or something like that. That would be awesome on your own collectible.
Yeah, I was looking for it, but you know, if I see it naturally, if I see someone list somewhere, I'll probably I check on it every now and again. And I have everyone else as well, who's I don't have all the blue ones though. Because you know, they're like 88 editions, and David uses, you know, they're all rising in value. I mean, I was looking at the scarcest things in my VeVe collection, and I've added some scarce ones lately, just because I didn't really have a lot of super scarce stuff. I had like stuff that I really loved, but I was looking at a few of the special editions and stuff, and so I was kind of looking at them, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. The MyCollectables one is one of my scarcest, the blue one. Okay, nice. So it's quite funny. And then of course I don't have like VeVe Magic's or Corey's blue one, or Eagle or Dan or Dave. So you know, we'll see. Maybe I'll try to add those to my collection. But some of them are, you know,
quite pricey, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. But it's a lot of fun. So
Um, okay, so we will stay excited and looking into the future, what will happen on that front. You've mentioned gaming and the transition from gaming in-app collectibles maybe over to like real digital collectibles that are scarce and tradable, etc.
yeah.
What potential do you probably see in terms of games like Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, and the Gen Z crowd that already is used to digital stuff and digital collecting and already attaches value to digital items?
Yeah. Well, I think it's really discoverability. I think the products that Lucasfilm and Marvel and all of them are dropping and releasing on our platform are such a high level that
Mhm.
when people see them and they see how easy it is and they see what you can do with them, and they can see the built-in marketplace. My experience, even just through outreach, has been like extremely positive. People just get it. If you've grown up in the digital age, it's not something that is hard to kind of connect and understand.
Yeah.
If you've grown up in the non-digital age, it takes a second to kind of go, oh, is this real? Are these like, but the digital age of stuff, it is real, right? Because you have it, it's in whatever, right? Like if it's a game skin or if it's
Mhm.
something you've collected or whatever, it is real. It's yours. Even if like, it's not an NFT and it doesn't have that, it still belongs to you. You still feel ownership of it, even if it is like in a gaming environment, for example. And say it's a skin, or say it's something like that, or a rare
Yeah.
item, that you collected or found. So yeah, I mean, I think people who have grown up in that area, who know the feeling of having like ownership in quotes on their gaming type stuff, it's not a hard transition. So in terms of like you may have seen somebody we partnered with recently, and I'll name drop him here, which is kind of fun. But from his name is Valley Fly, and we did some posts about him in the
Mhm.
Marvel Strike Force video game community, and that's
Yeah.
a mobile gaming app, right? And so we are a mobile collecting app,
Uh-huh.
in a lot of ways, and we have obviously our web app, and there's the partnership with Stackr and everything too, with the OMI side of things and the crypto side of things, right? But and the NFT power behind it. So, but the notion of like, you collect characters in a game on your phone and you like, some of them are really hard to get or very expensive, in that kind of environment, but you have them, they're yours. You feel that ownership aspect of
Mhm.
it. So it's not a stretch to then, see, oh, well, you could get the same kind of collectible or character in a mobile collecting experience
Yeah.
where it has a mint number and there's a market and it's actually a collectible. And then you have the augmented reality feature and you see those glasses that are coming out and all that stuff with augmented reality is becoming it's going to become very normal very shortly here in how we experience the world. So all the
Yeah.
stuff that this company is building, that VeVe's building, kind of lines up with the experience of people in the world that are, on their devices and enjoying the
Mhm.
IPs and the brands. So that's where the potential lies right there, and that's where we focus on, and that's why I think, people who are have grown up in this kind of age, or who have adopted it, who are kind of it's very kind of like easy to kind of make that jump.
So,
It
so
doesn't
if I,
replace physical because physical
Mhm.
is its own thing, and I think, as you know, like David and the company here has never tried to like replace physical. In fact, more physical is incorporating. If you look at the decon
Yeah.
stuff coming up,
Yeah.
so and the founders' backgrounds are in that space, owning stores. Like I used to own a store. I mean, look at my wall, right? Like
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
part of collecting. It's just you have multiple options now, and we'll see where the youth and the newer collectors, where they take it, where they put their money, where they see interest and value. And if you can put it in front of their face and it's around the world, and you remove the barriers, in terms of being able to collect, like you can download the app, you can sign up, you can go for a drop. Like it's very simple, very clean,
Yeah.
and that actually just opens it up to just endless possibilities. So that's why I think, that's why people haven't, they see that I work at the company, and but not a lot of people ask me like, why I work at the company, like like why I applied for the job.
Why
It wasn't that
do you work at VV?
yeah, yeah, it's like
Yeah,
'cause
tell us.
'cause, it's not like they called me up and said, "Hey, MyCollectables, come work for us. Here's an offer." Like, no, I applied. Like, you look at the job boards that are there, and there's a full HR department, and it's very, very detailed and very procedural. And you have to go through the interview processes, and you have to compete, with tons of applicants on the positions that you might see. So I did
Mhm.
that. I did that same thing. That's how I actually, joined the company. And it doesn't mean that the first time I applied, I was successful either. So, and same with other people you may have seen from the community. So, the reason I applied for the company is because I believe in this kind of space and growth. And so, if you look at anyone who works at VV, we all have families, we all have mortgages, or we all have
Mhm.
expenses. We have to like live. And so you want to work at a company that, you believe in and that is like, legit, right? Otherwise you have to start looking at other
Exactly.
options just to protect yourself, in terms of just like we're talking about jobs, right? So
Yeah.
so for me, like I just love it where this company's going. It's very exciting. And so I'm super confident in like everything that we're doing, and it just seems to grow every day. And to be a part of that is really cool. So that's a whole kind of aspect that has nothing to do with collecting. It has everything to do with
Mhm.
where you work your job, like what
Yeah.
where people choose to apply. So if
And
people believe in
also
this company, you hit the job board and apply, right? Get your
yeah.
resume out and send it in, because they're always, when you see those jobs come up, you know, uh, you have a shot at it like anybody else, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I totally get that because for me and also Corey told me that he feels like Vivi is a safe place in this new evolving digital collectibles market to work at with like potentially and probably a really bright future.
Yeah,
Um, but just to go back to the opportunities in the gaming niche and the gaming fandoms.
yeah.
Um, if I understood you correctly, you just said there is potential and a lot of opportunity because like those fandoms already exist and those users would be a perfect fit because they're already digital native.
Yeah, potentially, right? It's about, what kind of audiences that you think would adopt what you're doing and would get
Mhm.
it, so if you're, of course, we talked about what collecting is, and there's that in VV2. But, part of your strategy for outreach would be, to look at potential audiences that, you'd have success in, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah, yeah. It
to
would
try
be a
to,
good
just,
strategy in
just
my opinion.
yeah, it's just by, just by being smart marketing, right? So,
Yeah.
and then this that those are the kind of areas that we're looking in as well. I mean, the VV already has like, gaming, brands like, with Assassin's Creed and all that kind of stuff, right? Like you see that, those collectibles and everything. So that audience, that plays that game, for example, it's showing them that you can come over here and collect as well, right? And our current audience, who maybe doesn't play that game, that's not the target for that drop, right?
Mhm.
Necessarily, like that kind of a release is
Yeah.
is is to kind of expand our audience and our reach into that area. So we've already done a whole bunch of a bunch of releases and drops, that focus on the gaming world. So I would assume that it's going to be that's going to continue.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Um, to finish this up because we have a few minutes left. Um, if you could freely choose like any partner, no matter if realistic or is it even if not realistic,
Sure.
what would be like my collectibles perfect choice?
Well, we want to work with everybody, right? Who gets collecting and who's into it. Maybe today, just for this interview, because the day that you and I are recording this interview on, it's actually Mark Hamill's birthday today. Luke
Mhm.
himself, And
Yeah,
it would be amazing. Could you imagine if, like, you got to interview Mark Hamill because he was
that would be.
that would be
Hon-
fun, and not even for like exposure, just to get to know the man because I follow him on socials and he's absolutely to me pretty awesome in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
Of course, he's Luke. He's we have Luke, so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
would be kind of a dream person to kind of like do collabs with or talk to or partner with. That would be amazing as a fan and as a
yeah,
company, in my
yeah.
opinion.
Obviously, I mean, I've asked for your opinion, so great answer. I think, and in terms of like different categories, music, sports, fashion, is there anything you or the company are looking at?
I think the company's looking at all those areas. And I
Okay.
think you've seen examples of it in all those areas. And so, that
Yes, slightly here and there. Not
slightly here
not
and
like
there.
yeah.
Yeah, with the music aspect of things, we had the whole Blackpink collectible series of raw
Mhm.
English music as well, and all that kind of stuff. And the Pink Panther had music in it, so there's we'll see where that goes, but that's up to of course our amazing founder and the deals they make and
Yeah.
what they're pursuing. But I think this company is really focused on communities and collectibles and genres that people are passionate about. And the beautiful thing about it is that because there are so many different avenues that you can do that you can
Oh yeah.
actually go after with what we offer or what even just in the collecting space, it's pretty incredible, actually. And the digital side of things, like I said, opens up a lot of possibilities that you may not be able to achieve in a physical sort of
Mhm.
format. So, my personal things, like, I'm huge into, you know, um, it's like fandoms, pop culture, movies, and all that kind of stuff. I'm also really big into sports, and this isn't a hint at anybody or a teaser, but I'm massively into sports like basketball and all the major sports and everything. So, I mean, that would be pretty amazing to have that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And like I said, this isn't a teaser, everybody. You just asked me what I would like. So,
Fair enough.
we'll see what
Fair enough.
happens over time.
I can for sure say someone will clip it and then will say
It's
for
coming.
sure.
It's
Yeah, yeah,
coming.
for sure.
But
Good.
hey,
I
we'll see. We already have, Parker, right? The boxer. So we already
yeah.
have sports. So it's not like we don't already. So we'll see what happens.
And
Move
back
on.
in the day, there was something with the NFL. Something with the NFL, not directly NFL, but
Yeah,
you
I,
know
I
what?
I I saw that in the past as well when I was making
Mhm.
content as well, but I don't
Yeah.
have any news on that or anything.
Yeah,
So we'll
no,
see where
no
that
worries.
goes.
What
Yeah.
what I would love to see, and I
Yeah.
guess there would be a lot of people who would love to see that as well. First of all, Dragon Ball, but that wasn't the point I wanted to make. Trading card games, in-app
Ooh.
trading card games, that would be a huge thing in my opinion. That would be so cool if you could like play. Okay, don't get me started on this one.
That sounds
So
fun. That sounds fun.
yeah, that would be awesome. If you guys could make that possible over the next years or so, that would be fucking amazing. But but Aaron, um, okay. One last question. Is there something I didn't ask today, or something you want to tell the community or the community about, or something like that?
Well, I think just in general that just everybody is watching. Really appreciate everybody and what you're doing and how everybody's contributing to what we're doing. I think for me, it's really rewarding to see the people who have applied and signed up for the affiliate partner program and how I'm seeing the numbers of the results of what they're doing and
Uh-huh.
the new users and the clicks and the stats about how people are using their link. And also, I'm just watching how they're promoting and everything, VeVe, but really just kind of building for themselves. So I think that's really amazing. So I just want to thank everybody for being like so involved and still so passionate about what we're doing, and giving us all that kind of feedback that we want. And I really also you want to thank everybody for how they interacted with me while I was in that community manager role. That was obviously super rewarding. I'm still fully connected to the community in that way as well, like, but we
Mhm.
do have our community team, like I said, On My Way, FlexiCat, to go after. So we're working together and having a great time as and for me, it's just awesome to see that our community is so passionate, but also growing. One thing that's really cool is that we've seen a lot of like crossovers and collabs with other
Mhm.
communities. And I think our content creators and our community members who are involved, they're seeing the ease of connection. And that's part of like my job now is to help kind of bridge some of those gaps, specifically with the IP themselves, right? And so, once people get out there and they start kind of connecting everything, you'll see that it's like I said, it's all part of that collecting experience. It's all under the
Yeah.
same umbrella. And so, it's about kind of sharing that now with everybody who just doesn't know that we're here, right? Like people who just haven't discovered us yet. And so this company is really, ramped up its ability now to really go and kind of like expose what we're doing. And like when your interview, I know that you had with Corey, just talking
Mhm.
about how we're trying to become a collecting authority with our experience that we have and building that kind of stuff in the background and sharing that information so people discover it. And then, the whole collecting industry, physical, digital, everything like is always going to be here, everybody. Like there's always going to be people who have the nostalgia and have the desire to collect cool things or collect stuff from their past. And it all counts, stamps, bottles, like trading cards, I mean, there's the trading card industry is like really amazing right now. If you're watching it, I was looking at the Magic the Gathering Spider-Man set, and I don't even play the
Mhm.
game itself, but the cards are just incredible. So, it's if you have a passion for, your favorite characters or fandoms, you have tons of options, and Vivi is one of those options. And so it's really just about, putting that out in front of everybody, letting them know that we're here. And we're getting a lot of really great responses. We have lots of new users that have signed up. I've seen just through the partner program, the affiliate program, the amount of exposure that our community has driven based upon like the link that they've been provided and the
Mhm.
resources they are our affiliates have become and are becoming a real driver, a real marketing driver, a real exposure driver, and they have the ability to earn doing it. So that's the whole point of the program, right? So we're gonna add
Yeah.
personally, we're gonna add more. We're gonna do more stuff with it. We have lots of stuff coming out from my side of the fence right here with the growth team, and this company's hyper focused on that. So yeah, lots of fun stuff to come, man. And I want to appreciate you too for all the work you're doing. I know we were talking off air a bit, and and you're juggling multiple things. It's amazing, and you're doing such a great job with all of this. So thanks for doing what you do.
Thanks for coming on today. That was amazing. And guys, we've talked a lot about my interview with Corey, the head of content of Vivi. And if you are interested in that interview, just click here or maybe here. I'm not sure about that yet. We will somewhere this interview with Corey will pop up. And please, as always, let me and my collectibles know what was your favorite part in this interview. And then we will see each other in the next interview or every Monday live together with Collectors Gone Digital at our new show, Beyond the Drop. So, guys, have a good one. Bye bye.